They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful, and they have blinded us to the truth.
The question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
An estimated 50 to 70 million Americans suffer from a sleep disorder or sleep deprivation.
Outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of us from birth to death, are our owners.
Latest census numbers prove the United States has the biggest gap between rich and poor compared to all westernized countries today.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite.
And for the first time in all of human history, mankind is politically awakened. That's a total new reality.
I've got one that can see.
We can't be the only ones who can see.
Unfortunately, you've grown up hearing voices that incessantly warn of government as nothing more than some separate, sinister entity that's at the root of all our problems.
It's a new morning in America. Fresh, vital. The old cynicism is gone. We have faith in our leaders. We're optimistic as to what becomes of it all. It really boils down to our ability to accept. We don't need pessimism.
I have two words for you: predator drones.
And who are you, little fella?
You will never see it coming.
I'm predicting the first guy who uses a Second Amendment weapon to bring a drone down that's been hovering over his house is going to be a folk hero in this country.
Nice.
There is a signal broadcast every second of every day through our television sets.
I'm just trying to warn you folks, the television is a giant LED weapon system. It's so advanced. They got a monkey farm in Bastrop, folks, that they do all sorts of testing on great apes, rhesus monkeys, the whole 9 yards. And they go, oh, you didn't see this, and punch a button and it'd be hundreds of monkeys with wires in their brains with television sets brainwashing them.
All I ever have to do is be famous. People watch me and they love me.
You can have a little taste there.
Away. Now, I know some people want me to bypass Congress and change the laws on my own. Believe me. And believe me, right now dealing with Congress, the idea but believe me, the idea of doing things on my own is very tempting.
Assalamu alaikum. Many other Americans have Muslims in their families or have lived in a Muslim majority country. I know because I am one of them. But my father came from a Kenyan family that includes generations of Muslims. As a boy, I spent several years in Indonesia and heard the call of the azan at the break of dawn. I have known Islam on 3 continents before coming to the region where it was first revealed. That experience guides my conviction.
You're absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith.
What I believe is that marriage is between a man and a woman.
As far as why, what in your religious faith calls you to be against gay marriage?
What I believe in my faith is that a man and a woman, when they get married, are performing something before God. I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union. God's in the mix.
I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
I mean, the debt ceiling, that's a formality. Historically, this has not even been an issue. It's an unpleasant vote, but it's been a routine vote that Congress does periodically.
The truth is that compared to other countries around the world, our deficit problems are completely manageable. And I could not get Republicans to go ahead and say, you're right, we're going to put country ahead of party.
The last thing we should do is raise taxes on the middle class. You will not see your taxes increase one single dime. You will not see your taxes increase a single dime. I repeat, not one single dime.
Under this mandate, the government is forcing people to spend money, fining you if you don't. How is that not a tax?
Because when I'm president, meetings where laws are written will be more open to the public, no more secrecy. That's a commitment I make to you as president. I'll make our government open and transparent so that anyone can ensure that our business is the people's business.
But these negotiations will be on C-SPAN. And so the public will be part of the conversation.
We're going to do all these negotiations on C-SPAN. So the American people will be able to watch these negotiations.
You know, I respect the fact that Senator Clinton and President Clinton attempted in '93 to get health care reform passed. But I do think that they did it in the wrong way, because it was behind closed doors and we did not enlist the American people in the process.
When there's a bill that ends up on my desk as president, you, the public, will have 5 days to look online and find out what's in it before I sign it, so that you know what your government's doing.
Let me say it as simply as I can. Transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstones of this president.
Since taking office, this has been the administration that's prosecuted more whistleblowers in 2 years than in the preceding 40 years, that meets with lobbyists across the street from the White House so they don't have to disclose they're meeting with lobbyists, and, this is true, censored nearly 200 pages of internal emails about their efforts to make government more transparent.
That means no more illegal wiretapping of American citizens. No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime. No more tracking citizens who do nothing more than protest a misguided war. No more ignoring the law when it is inconvenient.
When Congress offers you a bill, do you promise not to use presidential signage to get your way?
Yes. I believe in the Constitution and I will obey the Constitution of the United States. We're not going to use signing statements as a way of doing an end run around Congress. All right? We have a responsibility to act. That's what's happened in Libya over the course of these last 6 weeks. The biggest problems that we're facing right now have to do with George Bush trying to bring more and more power into the executive branch and not go through Congress at all. And that's what I intend to reverse when I'm President of the United States of America. I can't wait for Congress to do its job. So where they won't act, I will. And I've told my administration, we're going to look every single day to figure out what we can do without Congress. What can we do without it? They will not work in my White House, and they will not drown out the voices of the American people when I am president. Tell the lobbyists in Washington that their days of setting the agenda are over. They have not funded my campaign. They will not work in my White House.
Just this weekend, the New York Times published a list of names, a rather long list of names of people who are working on Obama's transition team or who have accepted jobs in his White House, who are either former lobbyists or who have close ties to lobbyists.
And that means that no matter how we reform health care, we will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period. No one will take it away, no matter what.
Under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket.
I think it is important for us to send some price signals to change behavior. Americans like to drive their big SUVs. They like to leave all the lights on in their house. We're going to have to change our habits. If we want to do something serious about that, it's not going to be painless.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded. We can't drive our SUVs and, eat as much as we want and keep our homes on, 72 degrees at all times, and whether we're living in a desert or we're living in the tundra, and then just expect that every other country is going to say, okay, you guys go ahead and keep on using 25% of the world's energy, even though you only account for 3% of the population, and we'll be fine. Don't worry about us. That's not leadership. We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
Oh, Savior, that star-spangled banner, on the banner, shall ever wave over the land. Land of the free and the home of the brave.
We're changing things around here a little bit. These days I look in the mirror and I have to admit, I'm not the strapping young Muslim socialist that I used to be. But part of the problem is everybody is so cynical. I mean, we're constantly feeding cynicism, suspicion, conspiracies. You remember a few months ago, my administration put out a photograph of me going skeet shooting at Camp David? You remember that? And quite a number of people insisted that this had been photoshopped. But tonight I have something to confess. You were right. Guys, can we show them the actual photo? I'm also hard at work on plans for the Obama Library, and some have suggested that we put it in my birthplace, but I'd rather keep it in the United States.
Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. We're speeding up training of ISIL forces,
I am not a dictator. I'm the president.
I'm not going to give up on my statement that I don't think Obama's going to leave office in 2016. I mean, why should he? America's eating out of his hands. When you can have a Tea Party Republican Congress, when you're controlling the Congress, and you get with the party, when the party that's controlling the Congress, rather, that's against the president, and yet you get everything that you want done, why leave? Just say, I want to stay around for another 4 years, and everybody else shut up. The Supreme Court will not be able to kick him out. There's no will in America to kick him out of office. It'll just, people will jump up and down and start shouting and carrying on and saying that he cannot, and he'll go back and say, well, the amendment to the Constitution that says you can only run for 2 terms is unconstitutional if the people want you. If the people want, that's what he'll do. And then Bill O'Reilly will come on, he and that bunch of thieves and perverts over there at Fox News, backed up by the Tea Party and the Koch brothers, they'll come on and say, well, he's right, perhaps we need to have a referendum on whether or not it's constitutional that you can only run for 2 terms. I mean, George Washington set the pace of only running 2 terms, but no one ever said when the Constitution was written that you could only run for 2 terms. And Roosevelt ran for 4 terms. Just recently, after Roosevelt had had such an astounding socialist agenda that they tried to cut back on that power. And Obama says, well, my agenda and my program and accomplishments are far more sweeping than those of Roosevelt. And by the way, he'd be right. Obamacare is something that no president over 100 years of trying was able to accomplish, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. And then getting that passed and now certified as the law of the land. It ain't never going to go away. You can get 50 Republican presidents, I don't care who they are, they're never going to repeal Obamacare. And by the way, the Republicans don't want to repeal it anyway. They're just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. They're all lying through their teeth. Well, all politicians lie. We all know that. That's why I'd never be one. But I further want to state that there'll be many people from the Republican genre, there'll be many people that have dirty laundry, many people like Fox News and Fox News viewers that will say, okay, all right, let him stay. I just don't think he's leaving. And I think that anybody that says he should leave will be put in a FEMA camp, will be rounded up, arrested, and put in a FEMA camp. That's what I believe. Or killed. I believe anybody that votes against Obama leaving office, staying in office, will be annihilated. That's what I believe, and I'm usually right. I don't have that as a prophecy. I just know it in my Noah. Obama's not leaving the office. That's why Hillary's campaign is such a malaise. And that's why when you look at the 20-some people they got in the Republican group, it's a joke. And by the way, I know there are a lot of people that are erroneously identified as African American or black people or Tea Party people who think that Ben Carson has a chance. Listen, Ben Carson has less chance than a snowball at a nuclear reaction explosion than ever winning the nomination or the presidency. He's just there for window dressing. Karl Rove, Reince Priebus, the Tea Party, has propped up Ben Carson as a mascot. Now, the reason why I identified African American people, because I know, so Pastor, man, you're just against, you were against Obama, you were against Herman Cain, and now you're against Ben Carson. Listen, I'm not you're against them because they're erroneously identified as black or African American. I'm not against. I'm just saying we need to stop getting played by Karl Rove. Karl Rove is propping up Ben Carson to make the Republican Party look like they're not racist, which then makes me think that they are. The Tea Party people are voting specifically, they're polling for Ben Carson so that it appear that they know he ain't gonna never win, but if they cast these elementary votes for him and then kick him to the curb once the nomination has been placed, and the presidential election has been voted for, they can kick him to the curb. Say, well, we voted for Ben Carson, which then try to authenticate that they're not racist. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a racist ploy. It may not be racist, but it's using racism as a ploy, which I think brought down to its lowest common denominator says racism with a big capital R and a capital A and a capital C and a capital I and a capital S and a capital M. Why am I having such difficulty saying capital? So I'm watching this. I just don't think that we're going to ever have another president, not in your lifetime. I mean, why should Obama leave? Listen, Obama had the sodomites themselves have taken over the nation. They run the airlines, they run American Express, they run the banking systems. All the fags and lesbos, they run the education system. The fags and lesbos got dirty information on every person in politics. They got dirty information on everybody. The fags, the lesbos, they got semen, they got pictures, they got love letters. The fags are running this joint. Why do you think the Supreme Court voted for? Because the fags got lowdown. The fags got the information. They even busted Dennis Hastert. The fags are busting everybody. The fags got their ruling. Why should Obama leave? He's the one that brought the fags, the sodomites, the lesbos, the perverts to prominence. Why he don't have to leave? Who's going to stand up against the fags? Who's going to stand up against the lesbos? Because if you stand up against Obama, you're going to have the fags. Those fags and lesbos will come at. They run the school system, everybody. They got dirt on every politician. They got dirt on every preacher. Who's going to stand up and say, to hell with Obama? He's a long-legged quasi-Muslim freak, lowlife from the pit of hell itself. And his mama was a barrel of white trash, a sack of white trash. Who's going to stand up and say that? You ain't going to hear these people say, Obama's not leaving office. Why should he? He's running America. He and the fags are running America. Hillary is a joke. Bernie Sanders may be good-intended, well-intended, but he's a joke. Jeb Bush is a joke. Chris Christie is a joker. Mitt Romney is a loser. The fags are now running America, and the rainbow flag of the fags and the lesbos will be the next flag flying over the White House.
This is Dabu 7. If you want to catch these guys in the act, before this whole false flag thing goes down, you're going to have a keen eye for things in detail. And you have to watch what some of these people are doing out in the wide open. For instance, if you have a good eye and you pay attention here, you can catch on this map, like someone else did, that Feinstein here on the 31st on Capitol Hill referred to the United States, Mexico, and Canada as the homeland. 13 events in the homeland. This is the homeland. Do you see? What did Bush say time and time again? New World Order. And it will be broken down into different divisions. Now, as far as everyone in this country should know, like right now, Mexico's its own country, Canada's its own country, not on this map, and not, this is not what she thinks. Why would she think like that? Not just her, everyone else around her. Here's a close-up. Do you see where this is going? They're flaunting already a map of how they're going to shape this. And the only way they're going to be able to do this is setting off big bombs. Okay, Operation Blackjack, whatever it is, there has to be an attack. They have to have an excuse to do it. They've already drawn up the map. And what this is called is the North American Union. And once this step is implemented, they will make a move for the currency. Or the currency could bring it down as well, vice versa. And then after all hell breaks loose, whoever's left in the United States would all go under the banner of this police state and under this new currency. Now, I went digging, and this is crazy. This is a post-war New World map from way back. And look what it shows. The exact same thing. But it includes Greenland and Iceland. Thought it was very interesting to throw out there, seeming that they've got this map breaking down the way that they've got it, and this old map is depicting the same thing. They're ready. All they have to do is pull the trigger. This isn't possible. This isn't possible right now. It's not going to happen tomorrow. The Canadians and Americans, we're not just all going to wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, we're all going to form together and be one huge. It's not it. This is the United States, freedom. We have our own way, right? Mexico's Mexico, right? Apparently not in their eyes. Something's about to change the landscape of everything, guys. Eyes open. I'll leave links. Till next time, Dabu 7. Peace.